Oh, Travis Wayne Goodsoul, we were so sorry. We didn't realize how true you were. We're so deeply sorry that we tried to murder you and destroy you and shut you up on YouTube. We had no idea that you were true. We're so sorry. Get behind me, devil. Bleep you all. None of you came apologizing. None of you judged my words to produce the results. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them through the scientific method. In this particular case, for fruit is called agronomy. Bleep you all for your lack of faith. So, oops. This one. No. I finished studying Mormonism, and surprisingly, I had 4 views by the time I linked somebody to my scripture study manual last night. Because I didn't advertise it on YouTube, where it would get so many views. I'd be so popular. Controlling the minds of the populace, because they don't study. Yeah, I made the time to write out a whole book. And I still never got to the pretty picture of it. Because somebody requested it. So, oh God. In here, at the intro, I go over the necessity of obtaining primary source documents. Past trauma. I'll take you over my lap. After all we've been through. And instead, Devin trumps you all. So cute. Oh, Devin. Devin wins the award for the best daughter ever. Oh, love you in words, Dad. Oh, so sweet. Oh, why can't others be like Devin? Oh, that was so awesome. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, you're bad. Devin good, you bad. Primary source documents. When going over any kind of history, not just Mormon history, you must know the difference between a primary source document and a secondary source document, or a tertiary source document, or a tertiary blah 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 source document. When you look on Wikipedia and you check the reference, it'll say an author's name and a more current date. For church history? Yeah, oops, everything in Wikipedia on church history should reference the Joseph Smith papers. Nothing should be referencing an author. Nothing. Yet you'll see Vogel and Alexander and Quinn. None of them are authorized. They are not the primary source. And everybody should know better because of Quinn. Well, Oakes warned you. Deseret News, October 2nd, 1993. When was September 6th? 1993. Oakes came out in the Deseret News and specifically condemned September 6th and justified it with his putting to rights physically that which the church deems not right. The Order of Nehor. Elder Oakes explained that local leaders are informed by church headquarters about members who may be possibly violating church standards. Hello, Bishop. Travis Wayne Goodsell has a video from 2 Nephi chapter 2 about how true it is that Adam fell that man might be. Have him take it down, or why does he bother coming to church? And yeah, why do I come to church if the church ain't true and don't even believe in the Book of Mormon? The Strengthening Church Members Committee pores over newspapers and the internet now and other publications and identifies members accused of crimes that we set them up for. Right, Tyler Robinson, you apostate, furry, trans-Antifa, terrorist, communist, Venezuelan, Cuban, Canadian, Gazan, Iranian, Greenlandian. Preaching false doctrine from the Book of Mormon and the words of Joseph Smith. Criticizing leadership, even when that criticism is correct. Right, Oakes? Banned by YouTube as a clip. Bleep you, YouTube. Or other problems. That information is forwarded on to the person's bishop or stake president. Wasn't banned by the person who also put it up on YouTube. He didn't get punished, just I did. Huh. Who is charged with helping them overcome problems and stay active in the church. Really? Bleep you, Oakes. For what they activated me for in 2008. Really? A petition for a redress of grievances. The First Amendment in the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution. And I'm the terrorist? And that petition of the Constitution is a weapon of mass destruction? Bleep you all. So yes, September 6th got fired and excommunicated to be activated. See, because Avraham Gileadi said this must be some kind of mistake. Bleep you. Get out of here. And had to come crawling back on his hands and knees, begging to be restored and be rebaptized and receive the Melchizedek priesthood a year later. To go through the temple and get his temple work done again. Hey honey, we got to get sealed in the temple again. Kind of got fired from work today and excommunicated. So no, this isn't anything about overcoming problems and staying active. This is a mob hit on anybody who dares find anything from church history that tells the Mormons they've been lying to us. So, September 6th had their different things that they were researching and found in church history. And because of how contrary it was to the narrative that the church wanted us all to believe and feel good about, They, as faithful members, let me repeat that for those who are hard of hearing. They, as faithful members, thought that they could harmonize the contrary information. Put them together and see what we get. And so Joseph now is a witch. And an adulterer. The church was founded on adultery. And Avraham Gileadi's contribution. The Jewish Christ is merged with the Christian Christ of Mormonism to work hand in hand, kumbaya, to burn people. You can't do that. You don't mix the Roman pantheon with the Greek pantheon and come up with a movie. It's about as absurd as Marvel and DC doing a collaboration. Or even worse, Batman and Superman doing a combined movie. Because Will Smith's movie said it was going to happen. Arnold Schwarzenegger never became president. Hollywood, always good for a laugh. They sneak stuff in, just like Devin. Oh, it was so sweet, Devin. Oh, I want you as my daughter. Oh, that was just awesome. Oh, best daughter ever. So, yeah, there's a trend in Mormonism, a tradition that has emerged because of the lies of the church and people getting access to secondary or tertiary source documents, claiming that they're primary source documents. God. In most cases. So, little Nemo, for example, yeah, he was a faithful Mormon. He just thought he knew better than the church leaders on how to run the church. Bye-bye. Yeah, I warned you. You didn't want to listen to me either. And you're gone. Just unbelievable. Trust Travis. Trust me. Oh, Devin. Yeah, she made my calendar day today because of this heroic event and my failing to obtain the pictures in advance. So, yesterday I got a link from Stanford about the racism of Harold B. Lee. Right? I think that's how it went. And then I sent it to the anonymous Mormon, and then he made a pretty picture. Or was this just the, I think this was, no, I think Stanford did something else, didn't he? I'm trying to remember. No, what I sent to Anonymous Mormon was something of Stanford's, but it was unrelated to this. I'm trying to remember what it was that Stanford sent me an email on. No, maybe it was. Do I... Studying Mormonism. History of the Church, Big Oil, APA, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the Philippines, Meteor Activity, can't fully remember now. So we'll just go from the Anonymous Mormon. He sent me a pretty picture of Harold B. Lee from the library. And Harold B. Lee is blindfolded. He's being held hostage. He's forced to say this. Living prophet of Jesus would never say something so racist and inhumane. Because the church is true, that we don't even need to judge them by their fruits. Then there's the Deseret News article from 1978. LDS Church extends priesthood to all worthy male members. Also in 1978, there's a quid pro quo going on, the Public Law 95, 584, 95th Session of Congress, an act to repeal the Edmunds-Tucker Act. Here's the quote. See, Anonymous Mormon has been with me before I changed the theme of my YouTube channel. He knows. And he remembers and doesn't need to be put over my lap while I'm on my ass. Surely no one of you who is an heir to a body of more favored lineage would knowingly intermarry with a race that would condemn your posterity to penalties that have been placed upon the seed of Cain by the judgments of God. Run the test for a false prophet. Oh, false prophet alert. Church isn't true. '86 Revelation article. Now, citations on blacks. So I tried to find the source, and it was a book that he had written, page 168. He said it. But I saw from Mormonism Research Ministry, the anti-Mormons that they are, July 14th, 2015, by Eric Johnson. Quotations about blacks and the priesthood. The church already has this. They threw Brigham Young under the bus. The church is false. Gospel Topic Essays. Nonetheless, the only thing from Scripture that they could quote was Moses chapter 7, verse 22. You forgot the original 1830 Book of Mormon. And Enoch, Moses 7:22, did I say that? Also beheld the residue of the people which were the sons of Adam, and they were a mixture of all the seed of Adam, save it was the seed of Cain. For the seed of Cain were black, and had not place among them. And I don't even think that's in it, so why didn't you put the Book of Mormon version? If you're putting in... We'll check. No, it still has it in, that's why, okay. Yeah, so that's why you don't have the Book of Mormon, because that was changed by Brigham Young for his Book of Mormon. Trying to cover up that he's not racist. And so again, with my studying Mormonism, I explain how the Scriptures were written by the Spirit. Seer for vision and dream, prophet for prediction of the future, prediction of the future, prediction of the future, revelation for the science of astronomy, prophecy predicting the future is a scientific method. So astronomy, calendar dates and clock times, or as the Scriptures call it by a Christian who wrote it in Matthew's original document, no man knows the day and the hour except for those who know astronomy, and who put it all over the book of Matthew, not just in chapter 24 and 25. And also in other books, like the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and 19. And in story form all over the place in all other books. You have the Sun King Samson in Judges 13 to 16, and the Sun King is involved in deaths. What is the death of the sun called? A solar eclipse. Hello, they're giving you calendar dates and clock times in the book of Samson. Bleeping believable. And Isaiah, oh yay, the calendar date and clock time of Revelation chapter 12. Plus the 3 solar eclipses of Samson. God, people. Do your bleeping research. Quit listening to dumb people who want to lead you astray. And so, no, the Book of Mormon and the Book of Moses are not literal histories. That's not what you're supposed to get from this. And I have to do a whole separate video to explain it to people who refuse to believe truth. No, they're racist. Church is true. But then they put Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith is confirmed not racist. And yet, he found in the History of the Church, Volume 5, page 217 to 218. Quote, "Had I anything to do with a Negro, I would confine them by strict law to their own species." Yeah, because they're not human, right? "And put them on a national equalization." Yeah, if this were true, the church ain't true. Mormons. So then, others of Brigham Young. Those are from Brigham Young. So the history of the church, huh? So this was all before the little need put over my lap. Unbelievable. So all this was obtained, reviewed by me before that incident last night. Just in case this could be used in a video, since I just finished studying Mormonism. I'm talking about primary source documents. So the history of the church in the 7 volumes with an index has many Mormons believing that this was literally by Joseph Smith. What it is a collection of documents. And so now the church no longer publishes this because of the Joseph Smith papers. Hello, people, are you not paying attention to the church that you yourselves believe is so true? Why is an apostate doing the research on the primary source documents and not you, the faithful Mormons? God, it's beyond hypocrisy. It's just pure evil. And so Joseph Smith did not compile all this together. The reason... Oh, it's 51? Oops. Oh, no, that's the... Come on, where is it? I know I saw it in here when I went to... Okay. No, okay, yeah. The Pearl of Great Price, that's what they're talking about there. That's not the history. Was initially published as an official publication of the LDS Church, although Robert's History of the Church has never been granted official history status. Nonetheless, is widely used by general authorities. So yeah, it's B.S. Roberts. Oh, to correct errors, was he? Yeah, he just created more problems. Where is it? Richards, here we go. Oh my hell. Although Smith died in 1844, the compilation of his actions and words were not completed. Compilation not completed. Hello? Mormons? Hello? Until 1856. So like I told you, Joseph Smith wrote individual sermons, had individual documents. But in 1856, Willard Richards compiled the original source documents with some added fun stuff. Of forged documents. You know, like Mark Hoffman. How do you know if Mark Hoffman's a true prophet or a false prophet with his scriptures that he brought forth? Oaks, Maybe you can help us out because he's your great uncle. Martin Harris said that Joseph Smith was talking to a salamander about how his son, the third, who died, would become the successor to the church. Being accused of glass looker, March 20th, 1826, getting locked up and with a misdemeanor fine of $2.68. Oakes, where are you? Write a book on it. Tell us how true the church is. Dumbass. Yeah. Forged document, which means it's not real and has no basis in reality. Mark Hoffman forged a document claiming to be by Martin Harris in a letter to Joseph Smith, or somebody else about, I think it was to Joseph Smith, talking about the salamander, or talking to somebody else about Joseph's salamander, I don't know, whatever. So yeah, obviously it's false. There is nothing to support a salamander talking and giving scriptural revelations from God anywhere at any time in world history. It is obviously a forged document. And instead, the church so panicked that their right to authority was challenged by a salamander, they paid off Mark Hoffman and hid the document so that nobody would know about it. The Deseret News took a Photoshop op. Getting all of the greatest hits together. Should have that picture labeled correctly so I can blame the people implicated. Oh, God. There we go. We've got my pretty picture alteration. We've got Mark Hoffman's portrait. The single picture all by itself. And the full news article for front page. Utah finds 1828 writing by prophet. Oh, yeah, I want an Anton transcript. So yeah, they're looking over another document, and so the Deseret News, photo by Jedi Clark. Hal Knight is the Church News staff writer. So President Spencer W. Kimball of the Living Prophet of Jesus, deceived by a forged document. Who should have known better as the grandson of the abominable Heber C. Kimball. And who knows the church isn't true when he covered up and hid the evidence of the crime scene of the murder of Joseph Smith and Hiram, when Willard Richards and John Taylor were the only two people in the room when they were assassinated. Spencer W. Kimball looks at paper with magnifying glass. Well, that's obvious. You're not supposed to put in the Braille into the newspaper for others to read. You're just supposed to keep it in the Braille version. Flanked by Mark Hoffman. Yeah, he flanked you all right in that maneuver. That's an appropriate word. Left, who found it? President N. Eldon Tanner, President Marion G. Romney, the whole first presidency, huh? Elder Boyd K. Pachter of the Little Factory. And a testimony is found in the bearing of it. And Elder Gordon Bittner Hinckley. Just call it quits now, Oaks. Dear God. This is humiliating for you guys. Exactly. I busted you. And all the world was late. I called it first. Dear God. So yes, there were attempts back in those days to harmonize a talking salamander with the church's narrative. And so they were wrong. Because the talking salamander is not a legitimate document. Anybody who thinks that the salamander letter is a legitimate document after he's now gone to prison for being a forger is stupid. You cannot mix a forged document with primary source documents. Is this too complicated? Yes. Mormons never learned from history. And so Willard Richards compiled the original documents and made editings. He made corrections. He added and took away from the book. Remember the book of Revelation? Christians claim that the whole Bible that they compiled together can't be added to or taken away from, and thus they deny the Book of Mormon. And Mormons go, no, you're stupid. It's only for the book of Revelation. And then we took out and put in for Revelation 12 that no man knows the day or the hour. And so they're claiming he was working on it from 1841 to 1854. But remember, who is he? Don't just assume he's a friend of Joseph's when he is thrown under the bus by John Taylor, who throws himself under the bus and says John Taylor and Willard Richards were the only two people in the room when Joseph was assassinated. Willard Richards is not the good guy. He is not a faithful Mormon. He is an apostate, a murderer. And there's more to this story of Willard Richards if you did your research properly. The church history is a fraud. B.S. Roberts' history is a fraud. Quit using it as a primary source document. Go to the Joseph Smith papers. So, Willard Richards is exposed in Brigham Young's Little Black Book. He was sealed by Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball to multiple wives, with the clerk John D. Lee, in the Nauvoo Temple before it was dedicated. And two of the girls that Willard Richards got sealed to were sisters, 14 and 16 years of age. Now, Mormons believe, as Exfo Nevermos believe, that Section 132 is a real document from July 12th, 1843. And you missed the part about the salamander talking to Joseph Smith? You have to use science of linguistics to determine whether the document is legitimate or a fraud. All archaeologists know this, because there's lots of people who want to prove Christianity is true and will say, oh, look, Jesus and Josephus. Oh, look, the historical sites being closed for Easter by the Jews in Israel. Oh, look, it's the Tower of Babel in Ur of Babylon instead, by the god Marduk of 600 BCE, not the 3000 or 2000 BCE. Still wrong. Just stop, people. So no, this is a forged document, because we have Brigham Young's Little Black Book of Epstein files. Section 132 is false. But pay attention, because you'll never go to the actual document put in the Joseph Smith papers, where Royal Skousen put a reference to the Book of Mormon that says that these are wicked, of David and Solomon, and yet verse 1 right here in section 132 to justify polygamy. Moses, David, and Solomon, my servants, as touching the principle and doctrine of their having many wives and concubines. I approved it. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and also Moses, David, and Solomon. We're treating them as literal history, and so therefore we know this is a forged document. There are many other things that indicate this is a forged document. You know, like Joseph Smith going to Emma and saying, hey, I need to have little girls to breed with, or I'm going to destroy you. Yeah, that never happened. So, 1843, huh? So, Joseph Smith has been accused of having multiple wives in 1843. Sealed in 1843. Little Black Book says, nope, we lied. So, Sarah Ann Whitney, 12th January, by Brigham Young, to Joseph Smith, dead. This is 1846 in the Nauvoo Temple. Clark is John D. Lee. Joseph is dead, 27th of June, 1844. All dates are from December 1845 to 1846. And there is no Rigdon, and there is no Fanny Algar. We'll go over it, because I've told you, I'm a Fulmer, and a Fulmer knows that Joseph Smith was not a polygamist. We all know and talk about it in family reunions year after year of how Joseph was not a polygamist. The church is lying to people. That we know the truth because of Desdemona Fulmer, the sister of John Solomon Fulmer, who was the only loyal person who brought Joseph and Hiram to Carthage jail. He at least gave his single shot when Joseph Smith put him on assignment to get him out of there to save his life, and then have him come to this valley for a specific purpose for the latter days. Nonetheless, we all know she was sealed to Joseph Smith by proxy to the dead Joseph Smith. And the date was the 26th of January by Brigham Young. Not in 1843. Because that's the church's claim. Desdemona Fulmer was sealed to Joseph Smith in 1843. The Fulmer family all know that's a lie, and Brigham Young himself knows it's a lie because he wrote it down, 26th of January, and he was the one who officiated. And so it was either Heber C. Kimball or Amasa Lyman who filled in for the dead Joseph Smith across the altar. We know this because of the Kimball girl, who also was by Brigham Young. Oh, wait a minute. No, Daddy would have been the officiator, not the Brigham Joseph Smith. So, okay, no, I corrected. Brigham Young is standing in for Joseph Smith's dead body. So that Helen Mar Kimball would be sealed by her daddy to the proxy for Joseph Smith, which was Brigham Young. February 4th. See how evil this is, people? The biggest lie of Mormonism, and the whole world believes it's true. Still to this day, despite knowing about Mark Hoffman and talking salamanders. Do you not understand why Mark Hoffman did that to the church? People were finding out real church history. And that's why September 6th, working for the church at BYU in Church History Department, we're doing research on church history to counteract the damage caused by the lawsuit, the prosecution, trial of Mark Hoffman. It was getting the church too much publicity. even though my parents made sure to keep it away from me down in Southern California. We'll just cover it up and hide it. But I remember seminary teachers talking about justifying a talking salamander. What the hell are you talking about? Where is this from? I don't read anything about a talking salamander. The church was trying to do damage control, and it was backfiring bigly. Let me read off the names because they're not in alphabetical order. It seems to be that they were by date of sealing instead. And so Emma was never sealed to Joseph. Joseph wasn't even endowed. But sure enough, he got his second anointing, not from the documents of the salamander of Brigham Young, but January 12th, as Brigham Young stood in as the proxy for Joseph Smith. Both Brigham and Heber C. Kimball would also get their second anointing in January. Whether it was January 12th or one of the other dates, I'd have to check. Yeah, I've got them. I've got the words. The church lies about everything. When is this going to sink in to ex-foes? Because Mormons ain't going to figure it out. So Sarah Ann Whitney, Eliza Maria Partridge, Louisa Beeman, Emily Dow Partridge, Olive Andrews, Lucy Walker, Sarah Marietta Kingsley, Jane Tibbetts, Phoebe Watrous, Mary Elizabeth Rollins, Elizabeth Davis, Lucinda Pendleton, Mariah Lawrence, Desdemona Fulmer, Martha McBride, Sylvia Porter Sessions, Sarah Lawrence, Appia Woodman Sanborn, Cordelia Callista Morley, Rhoda Richards, Augusta Adams, Zena, Warrior Princess, Diantha Huntington, Nancy Maria Winchester, Eliza Roxy Snow. I did that video not too many months ago. Mary Houston, Elvira, Anna Cowles, Elvira Anna Cowles, Helen Mar Kimball, Presendia Lathrop Huntington, Mary Ann Frost, Melissa Lott, Agnes Moulton Colbreth Smith, even though it was just for time. Why did you bother with that? Patty Bartlett Sessions. There was a Sessions in my New York mission. What is the military base there? The popular one. Oh my hell. So we're talking about it. West Point. Yeah. We went to West Point. He was our zone leader, I think. I'm not sure. It was either district leader or zone leader. He was boasting because we went there to play basketball. There in the courts in West Point. We even went to church there one Sunday. And he was boasting before we started playing about how he was going to go pro and and so we had the team set, and he started coming towards the basket, and I was out front. So he's trying to do fancy dribbling. I steal the ball, go down to the other basket for the layup. He shut up after that. Of course, I should let you know, full disclosure, that when Creole Coford first took over, and we were there at transfers and Queens at the church, I was all by myself in the cultural hall shooting hoops, and I was bricking because I was trying to do 3-point shots. And so Coford comes in with his barrage of sister missionaries all around him, and he calls for the ball, give him the ball, and he does a hook shot from the 3-point line, swishing. That was impressive. So just so that you know. Nancy Miranda Johnson, Dulcina Diadema Johnson Sherman, for time, Hannah Ann Dubois, or in New York, Du Bois. I saw the street sign, Lafayette. And so, talking to just a person there at the street about Lafayette, he said, huh? No, Lafayette. They've altered the original pronunciation. For those who live there now. Thought that was hilarious. Flora Ann Woodworth, Fanny Young, Brigham Young's daughter, not Fanny Alger, Sarah Rapson, and then, yeah, all of these others are fakes. Even Fanny. Brigham Young wouldn't even dare have his daughter sealed to Joseph Smith. Because it's blank. She wasn't even endowed. Daddy didn't even endow her. Because it gives the endowment dates, it gives the sealing dates, and the... Oh, wait a minute. No, it does have... She was endowed January 7th in 1846. Okay. But no marriage and no second anointing for his daughter. This is a primary source document. This is factual information based on the evidence that Joseph Smith was never a polygamist, that he was framed and set up. And yet, the person who needs to be put over my knee, you know who you are. All I've done. Why can't can't you be like Devin? Awesome. The picture's going in and with the text for it, so you already saw it. Oh. Because that's White House down. Channing Tatum, or however his name is pronounced. He's a dad. He's divorced, or separated, or divorced, or the wife abandoned him. And so he gets his daughter for the weekend or the day or something like that. So he goes to pick her up. She's complaining. He served our country. Back off, woman. And so, yeah, his daughter is pissed. And yet she's a little genius about government. He takes her to the building for a job interview with a past girlfriend that is upset with him. And so she denies him the job to become a Secret Service member. But he can't tell his daughter. So the daughter blurts out to the president that her daddy is going to be on the Secret Service. And then she ends up saving America. And there she is on national television saving America. And mommy sees her. Oh. See, when I first saw the movie, I cried at that final scene. Even though the scene where she's recording the criminals, the terrorists, and then gets caught, that was pretty, sad. Tears are flowing. But not as bad as the final scene. And here we are, America is about to fall. Nobody's watching me twirl my flag. Just because I'm not a cute little girl who loves her daddy. Oh, people. So, after having obtained this information about church history, in case of a potential video in a coming day, which ended up being today, the happiness letter emerged from the salamander depths of hell. Should have just trusted Travis. You honestly didn't think I'd check it out first, huh? You honestly believed I was going to rush to judgment on it, huh? The happiness letter is a forged document of the Danites, and Richard's name keeps popping up. as Richards was the one who put it in the history that he compiled. It was actually Bennett. That's right. Bennett. John C. Bennett. When doing church history of Mormonism, you need to know the facts of history from the evidence, so that you don't get deceived by a salamander. I do these videos and Mormons just say, bleep you, Travis, we know better. Our feelings tell us so. John C. Bennett was pissed that he got excommunicated for doing what he was told by the Danites Joseph was doing. That's why he confessed to Joseph. Oh, you are you? All right, well, we don't need two witnesses then if you're confessing. And was excommunicated. When someone asks you if you're practicing polygamy, you say no. But if someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. So, who is this nutcase? Adrian Croft. He's coming out with a book and he's advertising it with a lecture. Dear God, what a loser. He has no clue how to do real church history research. He's doing exactly what September 6th did and got them excommunicated and fired for. But this mental retard goes a step further. Disclaimer, this presentation reflects my personal research and interpretations. Oh, really? So false, huh? I do not represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in bold in any way. I hold no calling or authority, and any errors, overinterpretations, or bad jokes are entirely my own. So, false. Just say false. Everything you say is false. But for him to do this and publish it to make money, mine's free academia, to claim that he doesn't represent the church about his claims of church history means he's false. He's going against the church. And so what he is doing is exactly the same thing that got other church historians excommunicated and fired. And here he is doing it, and he thinks he's telling a bad joke. The bad joke is correct. But then to say you have no authority to do this, that you're not an expert in the field, that takes some cojones. So there are certain things I look for when somebody gives me something and says, hey, what do you think of this? I don't. I already know the truth. I don't need to listen to somebody thinking they're going to destroy eternal laws of physics, to destroy facts of church history, to keep beating a dead horse. Leave the horse alone. Bury it. I guess the glue factory, if that's, rather than wasting it. Why is it dead in the first place? You didn't murder it, did you? The whole Joseph Smith as a polygamist is the most abused issue ever as the big lie. And here he is, pushing for the happiness letter to try to harmonize it. Because it's the biggest thing that ex-foes won't let go. And so here he is, trying to harmonize the happiness letter that was put in the Joseph Smith papers with the church. And so how does he do it? He branches off of a falsehood, create a new falsehood based on the original falsehood of 1700 years, going on 1701. Yep, Roman Emperor Constantine, the big lie of Christianity. And the creation of the divine command theory. It's not a theory. It's been proven false. The divine command claim to a theory, which has been proven false and must be dismissed, is the belief that Christian leaders of congregations or the Pope receive the divine will of God, who is not real, from the original creed. Homoousion. Constantine made it up. Let me repeat this for those of you who don't understand. A man created Christianity. A man created out of nothing Jesus. A man named the created out of nothing Jesus as Jesus. A man turned all of history, or turned all of Scripture into history. So instead of visions, they're now histories. Remember the Book of Mormon and Moses that we brought up at the beginning? Did you forget already? It's only been an hour and 15 minutes. Not literal history. And yet the big lie of Christianity. And thus the belief that this not real idol God, created by a man, speaks through the minds of the leaders of the Christian church. And their will is God's will. Oh, the Spanish Inquisition? chasing around of the Jews, blaming them for murdering your immortal Christ who committed suicide instead? I take my own life. Nobody takes it but me. Really? And the Jews murdered him. Huh. Well, those Jews, they're pretty powerful. Considering a Jewish author wrote it about his Christ, not yours. And it's his 10 Commandments, not yours. You're appropriating what is not yours to appropriate. And negationism history. And so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, claiming to be Christian, claiming that the living prophet of Jesus speaks the words of Jesus, right, Oaks, with your multi-personality disorder, and having Mormons serve more than one master? We serve 2 masters in one. That's a dualism rather than a trinity of Christianity. And technically, the First Creed does have the Holy Ghost separate. Only the Father and Son are one. It's been subsequent creeds, I believe, or papal bulls that made it into Trinity. But nonetheless, hilarious. And yet horrifying of all the evils they have done in these 1700 years, which led to the Holocaust of the Jews in World War II Nazi Germany by psychologists. So this dumbass Adrian branches off of this abominable claim to a theory by instead saying that the divine command of Jesus can be reversed. And so he's creating a branch off of the divine command theory to claim the divine reversal theory. That Jesus can be racist one day and then change his mind and not be racist anymore in 1978. That Jesus can say, oh, in the 1835 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants, no polygamy. But then in the 1832, put in by Brigham Young the year before he died in 1876, oh, now polygamy. Oh, it's wrong to murder, but now it is. It's okay, I order it. It's wrong to steal, but now it's okay. That's what he's claiming. This mentally retarded dumbass who doesn't know how to study church history correctly is publishing a book to make money with this crap. And you dared tell me I was rushing to judgment on this? I thought we had something. I thought we were friends. And this dumbass goes into detail about his falsehood. What is once morally immoral now becomes normal and acceptable for God. In essence, the doctrine asserts He's creating doctrine. That a specific present revelation from God does not merely permit deviation or exception from standing moral law, but redefines the moral status of the act itself, transforming what would otherwise constitute a sin, such as adultery, into something lawful and righteous. It's in the Ten Commandments. He's trying to protect the church, who says now that Joseph Smith founded the church for the highest degree of the celestial kingdom with adultery. Surprised he didn't do child rape. And he quotes from Dan Vogel, or references Dan Vogel. Again, another dumbass. Has shown some evidence. No, he hasn't. Run the test first. Like I did with you, you dumbass. And here you know a false prophet in this church. It is possible, no it's not, that the happiness letter could be he's speculating. The facts are supposed to lead to your conclusion. When you run a test, you dumbass. This whole thing is crap. And he's gonna get Mormons suckered into buying it and believing it. Right? Unbelievable. Just had to trust me. It's all you had to do. I thought we were friends. And you betray me. Why can't people be like Devin? See, I'm doing it back to you, by the way, in case you didn't catch on. Just doing it in my own special way. I chastise those whom I love with whips. To whip you good. Da-da-da-da-da. God. Could he have been propositioning Nancy Taylor? Groundhog Day. No, Nancy Rigdon. John C. Bennett was furious that he got excommunicated while Joseph is still doing what the Danites told him he was doing. And the Danites aren't taking him back, they're laughing all the way. Because they're now setting it up to have Joseph Smith accused falsely to be attacked again. Like they did on their initial missions to the Mormons who were called to Kirtland by Joseph. Gather the Joseph, I've now got the keys of Moses, we're going to run a test run for the latter days when our Christ comes and restores the church from Brigham Young. And Brigham Young already set the trap to destroy Joseph Smith. They thought they were Christian, and they come to Kirtland and find out they're not Christian. And so the Danites took over the church. And to harmonize Joseph with Christianity, they created Abomination of Lucifer and called him Jesus. I've been going over this repeatedly. The forged salamander documents of Brigham Young are section 115, about the name of the church, section 116, about Adam on Diamond, section 117, about Newell K. Whitney, which that triggers a Stanford email memory. Anyway, that vindicates Joseph of not being a part of the Danites. But reaffirms of how true section 119 is that Brigham Young created and put in his 1844 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants. Yep, forged document for section 119 too. But section 117 is Newell K. Whitney becomes the bishop of the storehouse of Jesus rather than for the poor, confirming that every bishop is supposed to have a storehouse as well. And then section 118, oh, there's John Taylor and Willard Richards, along with Wilford Woodruff and another guy, Johnny Page, I think, who Brigham Young brought into the 12 after he chased out the others. And others were murdered for them. Section 119 on tithing, yeah, oh my hell. I exposed the church yesterday with this. Forcing Trump to pay the church ransom through stock manipulation. Did I not call it? Yes, I did. Who's a seer and a prophet? I am. Who's not? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Section 124 and 28 on baptisms for the dead? No. Wrong translation, interpretation, and definition of words from the Jews. It's not the zombie apocalypse. Resurrection has to do with restoring Joseph Smith's church that Brigham Young usurped. Joseph Smith erected the church, Brigham Young insurrected the church, and I am trying to resurrect it. And then section 132, which is not part of 1838's scandal. This is the one from 1843. This is the one based upon the happiness letter of Nancy. Sidney Rigdon. Did Sidney Rigdon come with Brigham Young to the Valley, boys and girls? No. Did Emma Smith come to the Valley with Brigham Young, boys and girls? No. So what the bleeping hell are you believing section 132 for? Oh my God. He points out that Willard Richards originally planned to put in, or that it was planned to have Joseph Smith's denial of John C. Bennett's forgery, libel and print, right, of Nancy. See, because the paper could get sued for libel on this. They lied. They put a letter claiming to be by Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith says, I didn't write that. And so you believe that it was true? Because the church has it in the Joseph Smith papers now? Oh my hell. Do not see the bigger picture of the lies of Brigham Young and his minions. Nothing they say is true. And so it was Willard Richards and this dumbass, mentally retarded person who doesn't know how to do church history research says, and Richards was loyal to Joseph. Why did Richards decide to include the letter in the history? And he says verbally, because Richards knew the truth. He tampered with the original history upon which all the rest of this was inspired to be done. Lucy Mack's history? Yeah, no. Forged document. Oh, but the church had it edited to cover up and hide the truth. No. Salamander alert. Yeah, I did the video about that guy. That was years ago. Richards wasn't loyal. He murdered Joseph, shot him in the back, and then took his body and dumped it out the window. Then came over the body of Hiram and shot him right here. He is not loyal, dumbass. He doesn't know. He knows the truth, and he lied about it, and you fell for his lie. This is what he's doing. He's trying to claim that the Brighamites, Danites, are true, and trying to merge the two religions into one, just like September 6th did, for which they got fired and excommunicated. And here this dumbass, oh, this is not affiliated with the church. I'm not an expert in the field. I have no authority. Follow me and you'll never go hungry again. Give me of your substance. Priestcraft. And you couldn't catch on. You didn't trust me, who's not doing priestcraft, who's doing everything to improve your life. Without taking away your agency. And you fell for this con before even watching it. Because you assumed I was falsely judging it. Mormons and ex-foes will never stop on this, will ya? So, let's wrap it up with the news. The I told you so news. Well, we don't like it when people say they told us so. Why? Because you're guilty? You didn't listen? You didn't believe? Bleep you. Remember how in Utah all the grade schools have little lock boxes to put your kid in, especially when they're special? labeled as mentally retarded by the psychologists educated from Nazi Germany, brought over to Utah by the CIA. Mormons are the new Jews. Yeah. The school systems abuse your kids in Utah. And the asylums in Utah for kids. We just had one. You're welcome, Monica. I missed you. Never leave me again. I died that day. Who the hell is this kid? Where's Monica? So I know what you're doing lately, and I greatly appreciate it. Unlike some others who chop off their heads, don't get the full frame in. Body in the frame. Can't believe you didn't trust me. Oh my God. All of this was just talk? You didn't think I'd catch on? I just tell Travis what he wants to hear. Unbelievable. And so yes, Monica reported that of the break-in, or the breakout, of the kids being abused in the asylum down in St. George. And of course the Nazis called the cops to round them up and bring them back. And so yeah, they stood their ground. They're not going back to be abused. And the police instead lock them up in jail. They're going to go to juvie now. They have been abused and drugged by the psycho-Nazis. And the police were used to abuse the kids further. This was a horrifying scandal that Monica was there at the scene reporting on. And so the reason why it's an even bigger scandal is twofold. Psychologists are granted doctor-client confidentiality so they can cover up their abuse of the kids and other adult patients even. The second is that the school systems likewise claim this immunity from exposure of the abuse that the schools cause to kids. The Provo School District, involving a Utah mom accused of kidnapping and threatening an 11-year-old for bullying her child because the school and the police did nothing to stop it. Their official statement: due to student privacy laws, Provo City School District is unable to discuss discipline or behavioral records related to an individual student. Additionally, because there is an ongoing legal process, the district cannot provide further comment at this time. They're claiming that they can't confess to their abuse of kids because of this confidentiality. They hide behind it to cover up their abuse. Just awful. There daughter ever. Oh. See, I saw that, I went, oh no, she's in a gang. Because that's what you do when you're in a gang. They tat you. They tag you to be owned by them. And so, no, as a female, this is very disturbing. Is she being handed around to the gang? That would be sad, too. It turns out it's a happy ending because I was able to read what it says. It's not permanent. But there are many people who do it as permanent. And so not only gangs, but since we're bringing up Epstein files in the news and in that little black book of Brigham Young's, yeah, they likewise, sex traffickers brand their property. It's theirs. They want the money. And so they brand their girls when pimping them out. Escorts, prostitutes, sex trafficked girls all get branded with the company mark. Just like gangs do to the girls who get passed around. So I was deeply concerned when I saw this. She's an innocent Mormon girl who's not married yet. And as I am well aware of, from my experience in life, Mormons who live in this bubble world of patriarchal abuse by the leadership of the church do not understand the evils of the world because they've been involved with the church. And so when they don't like the church's oppression on them, you know, having to wear the underwear, no coffee, tea, or me, or alcohol. Nobody knows about that, right? I never saw it. I just knew from my childhood peers, my little grade school kids. Grade school kids knew about that one. And I'd never seen it. I can't even find it. I tried looking for it, but yeah, I can't find it in Wikipedia or anything like that. I don't think. Should we check? We're almost 2 hours in. We won't bother. Even if I were to find the video, it's banned in Utah anyway. And so, yes, even in other groups, there was the big scandal, I think it was back in the 80s or 90s, I don't remember when, where companies were asking people to advertise their company by putting tattoos on their bodies of the company, so that the company would then own them, as they are now advertisements for the company. And that got shut down as trafficking. And so then they went back to having people put the advertising on their vehicles or other objects that would be seen in the public eye. The people would get compensation for it. Oh my God. And so, yeah, this is why you see commercials. This is why you see YouTube with its commercials. It's that same kind of thing. And then YouTube, likewise, continues the abuse of denying people who refuse to be involved in making YouTube and thus Google money. All right, YouTube, naughty, naughty. And so here you are solicited by the church to commit crimes, huh? Huh, naughty, naughty. Should have listened to me, I warned you. And so, the military, for example, also, many, if not all, end up getting tats for whatever they're in, Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines. They get their specific tats for their unit, even, because they're now part of a gang. And so instead of thinking for themselves and sticking to what their mission is, they go and show that they're brainwashed zombies. Yes, men. So yes, when I first saw that, I went, oh no, my innocent, pure, precious princess is tainted. Tainted love. And note to Daddy. Oh, that means Daddy watches her show every night faithfully. Oh. I said, I don't know her family life. I don't know why she didn't do it to Mom. Is Mom around? I don't know. I don't know her family situation. But the fact that it's Daddy. Oh. So I'm better now, and now crying. But yeah, Mormons who don't understand this go out, leave the church, and they get themselves tattooed. And they send a signal to other guys, ooh, yay, a target. They go out to bars thinking that, I'm just going to test what alcohol tastes like. And then they get propositioned by a guy, hey, what's your name? You been here often? And they don't understand that the world uses bars for the hookups for sex. And so Mormon girls end up going to a bar thinking, oh, that we're just going to be friends. They take them home, and then they get raped because she doesn't want to have sex. I just wanted to be friends and talk. And so after the physical beating and the raping, then the Mormons go, oh, the church was so true. They warned me about this. I better go back. And the church got you. I've seen this. I have heard it so many times of Mormons who don't run the scripture test for truth. The church set a trap. That's why they don't worry about apostates. Because they know an apostate is eventually gonna get burned. And then they'll come back on hands and knees begging to be on Saints Unscripted. Yay, another apostate returns to church because it's so true. Yeah, my porn addiction got so bad, according to my psychologist who drugged me. And who asked me leading questions of what they wanted me to say for their study at BYU about how the church is so true. God. So, yep, record heat. Bring in the heat again. Heat record. Yep. This year is already getting set up to be the hottest on record ever. I warned you, told you the church's extensions are going to cause me to part the waters yet again. You didn't want to believe. We don't like it when people tell us they told you so. And so the anonymous Mormon, after sending him the latest flaming, falling star of Lucifer to the earth again last night, sure enough, he went and made me a pretty picture. He never signs it. All of his works never get signed. But nonetheless, this can now be put into the archives for the historical documents. I just have to put 2026 on it. He didn't put the year. But, yeah, we got all of them labeled. So March 3rd for Washington and Oregon, March 22nd for California, March 21st for Texas, March 22nd, or March 2nd for Louisiana, and 23rd for Michigan, 11th from New York, 17th for Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and March for Maryland, possibly Delaware, I would assume, since it's right there too. Yeah. Just, I warn, you don't listen, and only the one guy has been loyal, and Stanford. So, yeah, I called it. I didn't know what the stocks were that got sold. I just knew that the stocks were sold by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who are the major stock investors. Then I find out last night that, yeah, the oil investors. And so now I get to show you the original primary source document of their own SEC filing in the stock market of the stocks. And so there's BP for that one, and this one is for Chevron and Exxon. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it was an even bigger scandal. And you didn't trust me, did you? You didn't think I was telling the truth. You wrongfully judged me, huh? Yeah. Somebody leaked Trump's falsehood claim a minute in advance. And the church sold. Actually, they pumped it in this particular case. This was all a stock investment scam, insider trading, the pump and dump. So yesterday, yeah, right before Trump was going to do it, they're all, yeah, pump it up. Pump up the volume. So yeah, big scandal. Churches involved. Churches involved. So yeah. So yeah, lots of I told you so's all over the news that I did snapshots of. Are Trump's Iran lies market manipulation? Oh, Wait, we need to, that's another separate one. Oops, 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 oops. So this one, insider trading, pop in oil trading before Trump's social media post sparks questions. Insider trading, a massive amount of oil trades happened 1 minute before Trump posted about Iran. Inside traders made millions ahead of Trump's Iran market manipulation. And who told you so? I told you so. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, busted for crimes, by Travis Wayne Goodsell, reporting. I'm authorized. I speak for Joseph. Church is not authorized, and they need to hand it over to me quickly. But I am deeply concerned that Oaks is going to be humiliated this year. Last year, Nelson got humiliated. He was so sure Jesus was going to show. Jesus didn't show again. I've been telling you, Oaks got leaked. Test run. Guess where he got test run from? The Council for National Policy, the council at Adam-on-Diamond, where the Scousins were assigned to be at that council for the transfer of government from Lucifer to Jesus. The Council for National Policy was created by Tim LaHaye, the Left Behind series guy. And he became the Antichrist of his books and movies to cause the evils of the world to bring about Armageddon, thus Jesus. And that's how he's justifying it. It's the divine reversal theory. Ta-da! I tied it all together. You're welcome. Take that. And so, I've told you, we're waiting for Armageddon. We're waiting for the 9/11 event that will trigger Trump to declare martial law in America and cause a civil war, unless the people just roll over and die for him. And then we become 1984. And so, Steve Bannon was all over the news yesterday, because I see two. I didn't realize the second one. I was only interested in the MS Now that I first saw. This other one, I don't even know who were they that were doing it. It's a short video rather than a regular video length. But yeah, I've gone over this with you guys. The 2016 election. The Scousins. It got leaked in 2021. Right, Oaks? Oaks remembers. It was right before conference in October. It would be this one, right? God. So the whole Adam on Diamond, section 116, forged document. They wrote, Willard Richards wrote, extra stuff that they did not canonize in Brigham Young's final Doctrine and Covenants. I mean, one, Willard Richards was dead by then. But, the Council for National Policy, founded in 1981 by the Left Behind guy. This is the secret combination of Antichrist to cause Armageddon, to overthrow the United States of America. This was their membership directory of 2014 that got leaked. And as a result, I was able to go through and check. This was 2021 when this got leaked. These people are haters of mankind. And so, yes, the Southern Poverty Law Center designates this group as a hate group because of that. The people in here are evil. And there's W. Cleon Skousen as the remembrance in memoriam. That's what I did when I going through, checking for names, seeing if there was any Mormons in here. And so it's alphabetical, right? No. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, it is alphabetical. Dr. W. Cleon Skousen is dead by 2014. And so, seeing him in here, who is there another Skousen to replace him, or is there another Mormon in here who's replaced him? He's Mr. Naked Communist. He's Mr. Fake News 1,000 Years. I read that as a kid. My parents had it in their library. And so, yes, Mark Skousen. I read through that, and it just plagiarizing the Bible. I got all this information already from reading the Bible on this. He's not telling us anything new. He's not doing research. He just plagiarized. Called it a book. God. And so, yeah, going through it, sure enough, there's Mr. Stephen K. Bannon with his pretty little black and white picture. This version was redacted. This version was redacted. And if you forgot about him and the big scandal behind him, you don't understand the bigger picture that I do. He cooed the presidential election in 2016 with Cambridge Analytica, through Facebook, to Russia with Paul Manafort. And then after winning the election for Trump, he then went on a European tour, including Brexit, for those scandals, using Cambridge Analytica still. Psychology of Nazi Germany. And so, because the UK busted him, as well as some European countries, he abandoned Cambridge Analytica and left them to die. But then got busted in the United States and went to prison, for which Trump would then pardon him. Steve Bannon is an evil man. And so you need to pay attention to his words whenever he speaks. Because they love to play the drama game on TV. Just like the WWE. You need to pay attention because this isn't entertainment. This is your life on the line. So when he speaks, you need to listen. When Stephen Miller speaks, you need to listen. When Trump speaks, oh dear God, why are you not listening? You covered him in his first term and then you forgot? These guys are overthrowing the government because the church has them compromised. They have to pay the ransom back to the church. All of this is for the church. The church are the puppet masters, the 1% of the 1%. And the Skousens were the agents in this group. Mark is still in the group. Mark is involved in handing off the information back to Oakes, and then he provides the information to the council. So that the council does the church's will under the guise of, hey, it's for all of us. And Christians will take the blame. This is a very evil thing the church is up to with a very evil group. A secret combination of the secret combination destroying America that is warned about in the Book of Mormon. Remember, not literal history. So Steve Bannon. I'm always right. Always right. Oakes said 2020 was a test run. This is why. Because the Council for National Policy chose, instead of following through with their 200-year-old plot of the Mormon Danites, to run a test run instead. But that's not what Bannon was talking about. Bannon is making me bang my head and want to go back to bed for the rest of my life. I was only supposed to do this for 3 years. And we're going on 10 into 11 years. It wasn't until November 2024, after the election, that it got leaked from Sister Jessica of Oakes saying that 2020 was just a test run. And that's why my mission got extended. But Bannon, in saying that ICE at the airports are a test run for the 2026 elections, means that 2025 was a test run, which means 2024 was a test run. And that's why the church failed in 2024's April conference and desperate for a temple scammed the community of Christ out of the Kirtland Temple. She could have gotten it for multi-hundreds of billions. And she settled for multi-hundreds of millions. Because the church lied to her about their total asset value and how vitally they needed it. She got scammed as a woman. And so, yes, Oakes's leak is far more destructive now that Bannon, being involved in connection with the church through the Council for National Policy, is now confessing. We're just running test runs, which means they're going to the next election in 2028. Hand it over now, Oakes. You're busted. Dear God, if we go to 2028, I'm just going to cry, scream. Deep in hell, such incompetence. 200 years they've been trying to overthrow America, and they still can't do it. And yeah, I'm to blame. You're welcome, America. But still, the sacrifices I've had to make. I just wanted one woman. Just one. And I can't do that now. I'm too old. No woman understands the sorrow I've seen. No woman knows my trouble. Oh, the old slave song, of which my direct maternal ancestor was raped as a 14-year-old girl, as a slave girl on the plantation of my patriarchal ancestor, the plantation owner, from my mom's dad's side, from North Carolina. So I can sing that song. So, listen to this from ABC4 News Utah, from the married woman, not Sarah. Why can't you be like Devon? Can't you send me more obvious clues? Like Devon to her daddy? Instead, we were supposed to go camping, and you went camping without me and got bit by bugs. Take that for not going with me to go camping. Maybe Devon will go camping with me. I know Monica wants to go camping. Long distance relationships just never work out. So pay attention to the words, Mormons. See if you can identify the incorrectly quoted Mormon myth from church history. Prop 4. Repeal hangs by a thread. Senator Curtis sponsors sports prediction market betting. They combine the news together in a little podcast thing that she does. Lindsay, yeah, there she is. Looks like they got your last name in here. Ertz. Lindsay Ertz. She's in white last night, just like I was in white last night, and into this morning before I bathe and shave today. I gotta shave today. So, yeah. Let me quote Benson then. The Constitution, as prophesied by Joseph Smith, will be saved. Oh, I screwed it up. The Constitution will be saved as prophesied by Joseph Smith. Yes, I did that on purpose. Because if you heard the clip, he makes the same error. But it will not be saved in Washington. And all Mormons spread the word. Joseph Smith is a false prophet. That's what Benson said. Joseph Smith is a false prophet. He tries to soften it up by saying the prophecy of Joseph Smith is true, but it's not true. And that's where Hang by a Thread comes from, that nobody understands is brink of ruin. 19 July 1840 from the Joseph Smith Papers. Just like the Relief Society being a priesthood organization with priesthood offices, the church keeps lying, and they won't stop. Yep, Joseph Smith exposes Brigham Young as the enemy of the latter days. His order of Dan, the God Dan. Amos chapter 8, verse 14. And they still lie to claim that they're Christian with Jesus, when it's Lucifer that they symbolize from the Illuminati. They are going to overthrow the government. That's the whole warning voice. I am here to save you from Mormon Jesus, who is not real and is the leaders of the church. They are who I'm trying to save you from. Should have caught that. I don't know if you did. Nobody's indicating that they did. So, Mormons know, and there they are using it, about Prop 4, about voting. The Constitution will not be saved in Washington. And here they are talking about Prop 4 for the gerrymandering of the new map of Utah for the districts. It turned into an all-out scandal. Do you see how they applied it? They know, even though they got the wrong source document. It was a secondary source, and they probably heard it from a tertiary source quoting the primary, or quoting the secondary for the primary, which is 19 July 1840. 19 July 1840 is the primary source document. Brink of ruin. Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball turned it into hangs by a thread. That's what all Mormons know it as, but they don't know that it came from Brigham or Heber C. Kimball. They don't catch on. It's just been handed down from mommy and daddy to child all these generations to become a Mormon myth. Just like Adam on Diamon's priesthood meeting. It ain't a priesthood meeting. They purposely did it that way to deceive you into thinking they're following, but not, if you read it, section 107 verse 22, for succession. This is the trap you fell into, Mormons. This church does not follow proper succession protocol of Joseph. Brigham Young changed it and made the myth of the Danites for their latter-day coup. That the President of the United States of America is going to hand over the government to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, under the guise of Lucifer and Jesus, as the encoded wording. Loving words, Dad. Sweet little angel. I was concerned that she was now part of a gang getting passed around. That would have been heartbreaking. More heartbreaking if she wanted to do that. Still not see? And here, Lindsay. She knows the Mormon myth, but she has no clue that the church is responsible. And so she is more modest in her dress, even though she's pressured to compete with Sarah. Who makes sure to get their full body in the frame. Not heads chopped off. I can tell on this part at least. I've told you about how my mom taught me to do collages from the Sears catalog. Well, in the Sears catalog, there's women's fashion. As a Mormon boy, taboo, stay away, porn. But my mom's kind of conflicted on this because she has to use it to buy her clothes and clothes for the daughters. And so, the church is saying it's porn, and she needs to buy clothes, and she doesn't know how to buy clothes unless she has advertising for what clothes are available. So yes, underwear back in those days too, even for little girls. And so here I am, a boy, pre-pubescent when it started, who had the Beth experience in kindergarten. And so I'm a defender of women, but I have no idea how to defend women. And so because of the disrobing of the bullies who attacked Beth, I got into women's fashion. It's multi-pronged. And what my mom does not want to acknowledge, did not want to acknowledge, was that it helped me respect women rather than my white supremacist Christian nationalist peers and all the abominations that came out of their mouth about what they were going to do to girls when they growed up. And then you got the Epstein files that, oh, look, there they are. They're all grown up now, doing exactly what they said they were going to do as kids. And so, yes, my mom taught me without teaching me, because she didn't teach me to respect women. She taught me to consider women as porn, because the church vilified my mom as porn, and my mom accepted that vilification of her as porn to then teach that women are porn. Evil, disgusting, disgraceful, Luciferian, which that's the doctrine of Lucifer anyway, beam and moding. Nonetheless, women are evil. And so, because of my mom teaching me to do collages from the Sears catalog, I did collages of the women's fashion from the Sears catalog. And that was because of the incident with Beth, and that taught me to respect women and to appreciate their beauty and not consider them porn, as Lucifer tells Adam and Eve. It's Lucifer's doctrine to abuse women. is this going to be a 10-hour video? What the hell? Unbelievable. So, yeah. That's why Devin is my calendar for today, is because of this. So yes, Lindsay and Sarah, I pay attention. I pay attention to all the women on the news. I'm watching, girls. And so, because of this, catalogs have actual females modeling the clothes back in those days. And there were mannequins also that were involved in some stores and fashions, but no, real women are what I'm interested in, not mannequins and not cartoons or computer-generated images. AI, that's all it is. It's a computer-generated image. Photoshop. So yes, when the history of photography, I can go over for you in magazines. Yeah, the Nazi women were trying to attack these forms of art to have it covered up and hidden, following Lucifer's plan of happiness for mankind. So yeah, Sister Freeman, evil satanic worshiper of Lucifer, daughter of Satan, promoting Satan's doctrines, the pure doctrine of Christ that Albert Pike said was going to emerge after World War III. And so yes, to frame a woman correctly is essential. And yet, company after company, if you checked Amazon, for example, for women's clothes, women know this. There are those companies that will show the fashion, only the fashion. And then the woman's head will be chopped off. Others have no problem showing the woman. But with AI now, you've got these fake pictures. I don't want fake, I want real women. They're forcing it, and I don't want it. Just like in high school when bimbos emerged. They're mutilating their bodies. I don't want a woman who's mutilating her body because she's being bullied to think that she's ugly and needs to mutilate her body to look pretty. What the bleeping hell? Leave women alone. All of it. Makeup, tanning, boob jobs, Botox. All of this was to cover women up and hide them by abusing them. God, to tell women they're ugly? My hell, leave women alone. And still to this day, the companies still have to try to convince women they're ugly to purchase their product to look pretty again. No. And so you get other people who are doing a false argument of, oh, the lipstick is being tested on animals. That's not the issue. The issue is the makeup companies are telling women they're ugly and they need to cover up and hide with their easy breezy cover girl. Or maybe it's Maybelline. You're lovely just the way you were born. You were built that way, designed that way, to be attractive to men, so that the human race can exist. And they're my childhood born again, or, well, they were born again, but Christian nationalist white supremacist peers are saying, wow, that fake woman who's ugly and covering up her ugliness and now is attractive is so hot. What? I'm more of a Mary Ann than a Ginger. What? Mary Ann, was she on the show? I mean, yeah, granted, Ginger was a redhead, but Mary Ann is real. Ginger is fake. I wanted the real woman. And so now with AI, they're threatening me again to deny the real woman and choose this fake. Have a relationship with a fake woman, Travis. Pay us now to be hooked up with a fake woman. And so yes, the report in Utah. Mormons are choosing fake people to date. I saw this at Rick's. Women had the poster about how a teddy bear was better than a boyfriend. Let me count the ways. Stop! Just stop! Women! Oh, God. So, yes. And because I saw that this is just a test run, again, despite I have given the government more than enough to lock up this church and shut it down for eternity. And they're still not doing it. And to find out that we're still running test runs, it's still going to go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It was only supposed to be 3 years. It's supposed to be in Zion. Oh, dear God. And there's Steve Bannon. Yeah, we're running tests still. Yeah, Jesus hasn't shown yet. We're still waiting for Jesus, so we're running test runs until he shows. Which means the church finally getting the temple and the open house for 2027. Yeah. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. And so, yes, I told you that with the lack of funding for ICE, and then the Iran war, it was all making America vulnerable to a 9/11 event attack. And then Kristi Noem fired. Oh no, now we don't have a director or secretary. And sure enough, I was right, but Trump failed again. He still has less than 2 weeks, and he's already failed. And he's still trying different tactics in the final week and a half. Because he's failing. Still. And so now a new Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security has now been installed officially again. Trump failed. And on the same day after he gets exposed for rigging the markets for the church. Secretary of Homeland Security. And so, yeah, I just, God, unbelievable. It's too early for the stock market. So, LaGuardia, I told you so. They initially came out with the guy claiming, oh crap. And it's because the tower uses an AI program to project where the planes are and at what altitude. And so they in the control tower need to coordinate and make sure all the planes are in their proper place. But if AI is running it and it's saying, well, this plane is over here and this plane is over here, oh, and here's a hurricane from the Atlantic Ocean and it's not going to hit the Carolinas, it's going to go and hit Georgia. Because Trump's Sharpie. AI is Trump's Sharpie. It projected him to win. Trump didn't win. He lost. Bigly, humiliationally. And yet, everybody believes that Harris is a loser. Nobody wanted her. Nobody liked her. Nobody voted for her. Because of AI. Human programmed. And so, they have tracking systems, transponders on the planes to communicate with the tower, to let the tower know where they are and that they let the tower know where they are, and back and forth, so that there's no interruption. And yet AI interrupted it and caught the guy off guard who believes he's the one responsible. But yesterday, they came out and vilified the fire department. That the fire trucks don't have transponders. What? Of course they don't have transponders. They never have. There's even the thing that they never will. They're not required to. They respond after an incident. And yet, because of the AI glitch, the tower gave the okay for the truck to proceed across the thing, thinking that the airplane was in a different location, but then the screen blipped to correct itself because AI is a projection, and it showed oops, and that's when the control tower guy panicked and pull, no, don't do it, pull up, oh my god, and collision, and the two pilots are dead. This is what happened, and yet they're trying to claim, well, it happened because the fire truck didn't have a transponder. He's not supposed to have one. God, they just want to protect AI in their system. They don't want the federal government to be exposed pushing AI. So, yep, Trump rigged the stocks. I told you so. So, with the collapse of the economy that is happening in real time because you sensitive snowflakes couldn't endure the government shutdown, that test run, what you're now going to witness is the collapse of citizens who declare bankruptcy and can't afford to live, go homeless, and small businesses failing. You're not going to get compensated for the tariffs. Don't even think you're going to get paid. It ain't going to happen. No matter how a judge says, yeah, you deserve money. You need it now. It ain't coming. because Trump is asking for his billions to fund ICE. That's why he sent them to the airports to shoot down multiple birds in one shot. And it's just getting worse. And so AI is losing lawsuits. So I told Google and YouTube to leave me alone. I filed complaints with the FBI. And I think it was Monday I was being attacked. And so I was filing a complaint with the FBI after Google said it's suspicious activity to check my local weather. They know everything about me. They know where I live, and therefore they know that the weather for the particular area that I live is not suspicious activity. And yet, and so I go to another tab to tip this to the FBI that I'm again being attacked by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, soliciting Google and YouTube and Microsoft and all the other companies to attack me, to commit crimes against me. Notice how the camera's doing very well today. 3 hours in. Which, yeah, if it goes beyond 3 hours, I'm going to have to stop at 3, because for some reason, even though I set it in the system for 4 hours, it still shuts off at 3. What are you doing? I'm not done yet. Gotta keep people bored and not listening anymore for another several hours. And so, yeah, even the FBI says, oh, providing a tip to the FBI, that's suspicious activity, Travis. Confirm you're real. They know I'm real. This is AI programmed to attack me. Travis, this IP address, get them. Humans. And so, because of that, I then tipped them about the church. And then the next day on Tuesday, I told you so. And I linked them to that video on YouTube. I did. I've warned my government. I gave them all the documents, everything about this church. And it's difficult to do because they don't want me to give the evidence. What good is a tip if you're not going to take any evidence? Have me upload files for you. Dear God. Do you want to do your job or not? So yeah, I'm still waiting for the fall of the church. I don't know. Maybe Jesus is running a test run, and so when he comes, he'll shut down the church. So in Utah, the gas pumps are being watered down. Yeah, that's not good. Watered down gas is not good because they put the specific number on each of the different pumps for a reason. And that is deceiving when they water them down. You now have a whole bunch of lawsuits coming, gas stations. Because all somebody has to do is run the test by taking out a little gas sample and testing it for the amount of water in it. And then, boom, you get sued. And so Cox also is causing water to disappear before your very eyes. This shows how Cox is mentally retarded too. We all go to school, right? Do they not teach this anymore? How water vapor goes into the sky, forms clouds, causes rain, waters the plants give off carbon monoxide poisoning to harm humans. Carbon dioxide. And the cows, and all that, it's all part of the cycle of life. The photosynthesis process. And so sunlight, the radiation gets into the plants as well to help them grow and give off oxygen, as we breathe out what the plants also take in. And nonetheless, despite this, it's nitrogen rather than oxygen, but it's a nitrogen-oxygen mix. Regardless, our bodies are made up of mostly water. I saw the Batman episode. I'm not sure who the villain was that did it. It could have been the Penguin. He zapped world leaders of their body fluid, and so they were just piles of dust on the chairs. All neatly stacked. So Batman had to bring them back by hooking up water to the dirt. To bring them back from the dust. Awesome. Just awesome. And so yes, we need water as humans. And yet the church stole water from Utah. Oh, but they gave it back. And so yes, now the lots of cities are now banning water from people. You have to restrict now. They're still not declaring an emergency. If you're doing these kinds of things, you've declared an emergency. You're punishing the people for what you caused because of your neglect. And Cox was the one who came out when he first got elected in 2021. You know, the test run where Herbert failed with Bear's ears, so he's gone. Failed with COVID. Gone. Church doesn't want you anymore. Cox is now the church's choice. And said, yeah, there have been some errors that have been made. Blame on the government for failing to preserve Utah's snow that no longer is the best snow on earth, as all of the ski resorts are closing early this year. Yeah, I'm parting the waters, guys. Doing it again, and it's just going to be another test run. Oh my hell. And so Governor Cox, knowing of Utah's situation and that they should have prepared, then went and didn't prepare. Still, they knew what they needed to do. They knew what Utah needs. They need more snow. And in order to get more snow, you need to have the environment greenified. You need to turn this desert into a paradise with vegetation to then cause the photosynthesis cycle to work. And then the lake effect kicks in with the water being put back, and that provides the mountains with the snowpack to be the best snow on Earth. And then the snowpack then melts in the summertime, and that requires the water storage tanks for the populace in Utah. And you gotta build more of them by keeping the desert a garden paradise. And instead, they're now thinking that they're going to fix the problem by having people not have water to dump water in the lakes and rivers. And what did that do? Oh, that dried it up? Yeah. It's got to be snowpack water. They're not getting this. We're looking at a major catastrophe. You were warned in 2020 with 2021's parting of the waters that I did, and you didn't learn from it. Now Cox, as the governor, is murdering us. He is signing our execution. We need water. In 2021, I dried up the Green River. Towns had to have water brought in. And here we go, it's going to be worse. God, just not listening to me. So yeah, Cox is a dumbass. That's why the church put him in. It's only going to cause the water to be worse. It's not going to fix the problem. It's not going to be a temporary band-aid. It's going to make the problem worse. We needed snowpack. We didn't get it. And we're in a major crisis, and he's refusing to declare emergency. So, yeah, the Iran oil catastrophe, that's a record-breaking crisis now, too, now. So yeah, they're watering down your gas to try to cover it up and hide it. And that's not going to be good for your cars. And so also, top scientists have been going missing or have been killed. And now it's starting to cause alarms. I saw this over the weekend, I think. Fox News finally covered it yesterday. So yeah, something's going on in the background that we're not doing the investigation for. And yeah, there's some nuclear scientists involved. So, yay, the day that shall burn as an oven, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is behind it all. So, yeah, I did the video on BYU Hawaii, sunk into the underworld. You didn't believe me, only 28 views in the 3 days. And yet, hits the 20-year record of flooding at BYU Hawaii, and it's a major disaster, and Utahns have gone out to try to save them. Chaos ensues. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has had no response whatsoever. Had to be Utah Mormons to go out there to help. A major disaster in Hawaii. So the fertilizer shortage with the Iran crisis. Yep, we don't have fertilizer, and thus the food costs are going to skyrocket. The Philippines, 45 days left of fuel. Then they collapse like Cuba. There are 867,271 Mormons in the 2023 reporting. I don't know why they didn't do the 2024 reporting, unless the church removed them from the files. But I could check, but we are almost done, and I want to get it done before 3 hours. And so yes, these are Mormons who are now suffering. Almost 1 million Mormons in the Philippines. We have temples in the Philippines. The church has a sweatshop in the Philippines with children working them to make the underwear for Mormons. I'm not kidding. I told you this story. I can extend this for hours. I'm old. I've got a lot of stories to tell. The guy in charge of Beehive Clothing came back from his vacation to the Philippines and showed a slideshow presentation of the sweatshop and joked how we here at Beehive Clothing have air conditioning. They don't. What? The church is filthy rich and they couldn't get them air conditioning to the children who are making the underwear? And he justified that, saying, well, that's the economic conditions in that place. We have no choice but to put the women and children into slavery, because that's the economy of the Philippines. Oh my hell! Nobody cares about those videos. And so Meta has now been convicted in Arizona or New Mexico or wherever it was of causing mental retardation in kids to be drugged by Nazi psychologists. I warned that it was a wrong argument, and apparently the lawyers didn't argue it correctly. Even though I had hopes for it, but they failed. So pay attention. YouTube's going by the way of the dodo bird in the coming days. Because there goes Meta. So yeah, the Texas meteor crashed into a house. Farming is now murder in Utah. Some dumbass spray painted a John Deere tractor and said it's murder. It's not murder. Cut it out. Quit being Poison Ivy from the Batman movie. I'm gonna kill humans to let plants prevail. What the hell? It's farming for food, for mass production. Back off. I mean, yeah, there was a certain John Deere's that caused the fires up in Canada, and that the Mennonites or Hutterites were using, and they didn't want to pay their bill to the fire department of McGrath, so they refused to report the fire. Tried to handle it themselves until it got out of control, and then they called us when it was too late to put it out. All because they didn't want to pay their bills. We were going in the fire regardless. And then, yeah, all these lines at the airports, yeah, and the worsening of the airports. Missionaries, remember? Hello? Bring them home, Oaks. And then there's a Lyme disease vaccination now. Just in the nick of time. Hand it over, Oaks. You're through. Okay? Yeah, we're done with the pictures.